Hello, welcome to Issues of the Moment. My name is Oku Ekpayong. The African Union is a continental body consisting of 54 countries in Africa without Morocco. The AU was established on the 26th of May 2001 in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, to replace the Organization of African Unity, OAU. Some of the many objectives of the Union include to achieve greater unity and solidarity between the African countries and Africans, and to also promote peace, security, and stability on the continent. At 52, where is the Union in handling the affairs of Africa and Africans for the political and socio-economic integration of the continent? Now, this is the thrust of our discourse. My guest is a Pan-Africanist and expert on current African issues, as well as an astute politician from the Democratic Republic of Congo. He is Professor Julien Siakudia. Professor Siakudia, welcome to Issues of the Moment.
Thank you very much.
And viewer, please stay tuned. The program continues shortly. I am Oku Ekpayong once again. Yes, the program is still Issues of the Moment, and we want to thank you for staying with us on the program. We're looking at African Union at 52, and I've got my guest from the Democratic Republic of Congo, Professor Julien Siakudia, who is here with me in the studio. The African Union, Professor, has an agenda running now. It's called the Agenda 2063, and the theme of this agenda is a global strategy to optimize the use of Africa's resources for the benefit of Africans. How would you look at this holistically in terms of the Union trying to project Africa, to raise Africa's resources for the benefit of Africans in the continent?
I have to tell to you that anything which is intended to promote Africa, we are ready to encourage it. But we don't have to be naive. We have to know that the big problem of this continent of Africa is the first problem of governance. You cannot build anything where there is not a good sharing of power. And you don't build Africa where there is insecurity. You don't build Africa where there is corruption. And we have to tackle some issues which we know which are discouraging many Africans, many countries, many people of good faith to be a part of the promotion of Africa. The goodwill is something, but the practical thing, to be practical, is another thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's come away from that now. Let's look at the African Union 52. Yes, good. One of the objectives is to ensure that there's a greater unity, greater solidarity between African countries and African states. And another way is to mediate in the affairs of African states. Now, how would you assess the role of that? Has the AU been able to do that in the last 52 years in terms of, mediating and tackling their own issues politically, socio-economically in the last 52 years without external interference?
OU as an institution is a positive organization, but has OU capacity of its politics. When an organization is depending to the external funding, it cannot be performed without the insurance of those who are paying you. Because the English, they have one expression saying, when you pay the musician, you decide for the program. And up to now, many, you say that we have an organization of 54 countries. How many countries are contributing to the budget of OAU? I am not economist, but those who are there, they will tell to you, many of them are not contributing. Sometimes they are going to European Union sometimes to UN to ask for funding. But they still calling it's African organization for our independence, for our credibility, for our dignity. But I think that we have to be serious with ourselves as Africans. If we want to be respected, we have first to respect also our organization. And it's time now to reinforce the capacity of African Union. The financial capacity, the democratical capacity, the governance of the institution itself, and also to be assured that only those Africans with the ambition of promoting democracy, peace, stability, and social welfare for our population could be of welcome in that organization. We cannot accept that African Union become again the assembly of the dictators as it was in 70s, 80s with the Mobutus and others. Now the time has come for change in Africa. We need African Union to take a lead of promoting democracy in the continent, because the last 50 years we have come to experience that without democracy there is no development. Without good governance, when we have corrupt leader, we have to say things as it is. When you have corrupt leader, when you have dictatorship going on, when you cannot promote peaceful transition, when you cannot promote democracy in the country, don't think that you are going to develop your country, don't think that you are going to develop your continent. Even Europe, they start from where we are today. But today, they think that the only way they have is democracy. The only way they have is a peaceful transition. The only way they have is to combat corruption. You cannot imagine one person getting all the money of state for himself, and how many families they are dying when you are taking all the economy of the country in corruption. And when we have corrupt leader, we cannot develop.
Okay, that brings me again to the question where I'm going to ask you about the political terrain. Now, how would you assess the political terrain in Africa? Are you pleased with what you're seeing right now? Let's look at some countries in Africa, in West Africa, in South Africa, or Northern Africa, or Eastern Africa. There have been issues, political issues here and there, turmoil that has caused the country citizens to flee. You know. Now, are you pleased? How would you assess the political terrain in Africa in the last number of years?
As a Pan-Africanist and a lover of Africa, there are some developments which are positive here and there in our continent. But I think we have to take the continent as a whole and work together for the betterment of our life and our development. Why I came today to Abuja is to encourage something which is positive in our continent. Today, Nigeria has demonstrated that it's possible. Because people said in Europe and America that democracy cannot be prevail in Africa. Democracy cannot be achieved in Africa. But peaceful transition cannot be achieved. The African, they are just Africans. And they look to us in the eye that these people cannot do anything by themselves. But what has happened in Nigeria today, on the 28th, that last Friday, it's a lesson for all the continent. And I think Nigeria should take the lead, that to have a strong leader now, as we have got our friend and the President Buhari, who can speak, who can be strong, and who can give a leadership in that continent. I call him the second Mandela. Because today we don't have the leaders as Nkrumah, as Lumumba, as others Nasser and others who have promoted Africa. We were praying to have Nigeria to get a good leader. Now we are happy that Nigeria has got a leader who can speak for Nigerians and who can also speak for Africa. And we will do everything. It's why we have come to witness this change, to witness this peaceful transition, which others are saying that it cannot be possible in Africa. But Nigeria has showed to all the world that it is possible. And I am sure this will be experiences which we are going to go with it everywhere in Africa, to be sure that in 2063, which you have said, we can deliver.
Okay, now let's look at the role of the diaspora. Africans in diaspora in the development of Africa. What do you think the diasporans can contribute in developing Africa to get to this to get it right politically? Because you talked about getting the political development right, and when we have the political leadership right, then development can take place. Now, what do you think the diasporans, in African diasporans, can come in to develop their own countries?
You know, diaspora can inspire a lot in this continent. When Nkrumah came from, he came from England to change Ghana and say that Ghana cannot be alone, independent, if all Africa is not independent. He came from diaspora. He did not come from Africa. He came from outside. Huh? People outside, they have other ambition. Diaspora of Africa is dynamic diaspora. We have a lot of intellectuals. We have a lot of rich people. We have a lot of knowledge. Our children are going the best school in the world, competing with the children of the white people on the same level, sometimes a very high level. We need to create a space for these people to start to come home. But when you are calling a medical doctor in England, in London, or in Washington, or in Montreal, you have to prepare the condition for him to live well and to deliver. But if the conditions are not prepared to welcome those experts of Africa who are everywhere, who are developing other countries, you go to Washington, you will find the African. You go to any institution of science in the developed world, you will find Africans. Why we Africans cannot use those people for the betterment of Africa, for the betterment of our people? But the only problem we have is when these people are coming, they don't find the people who are welcome. They don't have to find the institution in place to welcome them. Then the new leaders of Africa, it's why we need a new political leadership in Africa who understand that with the diaspora of Africa around the world, we can develop this continent. Because we are going to use all the expertise they have, all the experience they have, that we can promote. Even when we are speaking about democracy, there are many people in Africa who speak the word democracy, which they never lived in. But those people, our diaspora, they are living in the place where politicians can discuss in the parliament. In the evening, you find them drinking alcohol, or drinking tea, or dancing together, or going in the parties together. But in the morning, you saw them on television fighting with ideas to develop their country. And when we will learn that politics is not the place of enemies, when we will learn that we cannot fight between us with ideas, but we have to deliver for our population, in the same times we are brothers and sisters of the same country, of the same continent. And we have also to live the normal life after the job in the parliament or in the government. There is a life after presidency. As Goodluck Jonathan now, he has given the freedom, the peaceful transition in Nigeria. Now he's still young. He can go in the street, take his tea, go with his wife in holiday, and become also useful for the continent of Africa. And I hope that the president, if I have advice to give to the president Buhari, is to make President Jonathan the special envoy for himself as the president of Nigeria for Africa. Development of democracy, and for Africa, development of peaceful transition. This is an heritage which we cannot let down. Nobody today in Africa will tell to us, oh, we are going to change. As I heard here, some discussion I had with some ministers of foreign affairs of some countries, which I don't want to say here, during the time of inauguration, they told me, oh, we just come here by curiosity, but in our countries, we will not do this. Because we are going to change the constitution legally to get third mandate, to live there forever. Because this is European things. We don't have time to lose. We have to work hard, and we ask President Buhari to take the flag of the promotion of democracy, peaceful transition, as he came in the power. By the same way, he should stand and tell to others that there is no chance again for Africa to let those people who are changing the mandate to stay longer in the power, to stay forever, without delivering anything for the population, but they want to continue to be the leaders of their countries.
Okay.
We have to say no. I want to add this by saying what is going on in Burundi now, it's not acceptable. The president should stand out and let democracy to prevail in Burundi. Okay. The same thing we ask in Congo with Joseph Kabila, we ask with Paul Kagame in Rwanda, and Yoweri Museveni, and even in Zimbabwe with President Mugabe. It's not the time now.
We'll take a break.
It's not the time for us to sleep and let these people to destroy our continent, because we have to develop the continent, all of us together.
We'll take a break, Professor Siakudia. We'll take a break, viewer. The program continues shortly. Please stay with us.
Unfolding issues are reported daily in the news. Beyond that, every week on NTA International, informed analysis of issues of the moment by experts themselves. Join us on NTA International, the issues of the moment.
Many thanks for staying with us. The program is still Issues of the Moment. Professor Siakudia, why do you think African leaders would want to sit tight in office longer than necessary? Why do you think they want to change the constitution of their countries to suit their political ambitions, selfish as it were, and stay and extend their tenure in office? What do you think are reasons for this?
Egoism, incompetence, and fear. When you did not deliver well, when you have been torturing people, stealing the money of the country, creating rebellion inside of the country, and sitting in the place where you are not supposed to be, you will be afraid to go out, because you feel that with an army around me, the security of the security system around you, you will feel safe. But there is no chance today for those people to continue to change the constitution of the country like they are changing their clothes. It's a time now for serious practices of politics in Africa. We have to say to these people, there is no time again for that. We have to give chance to Africa to develop. We have to give the hope to our children. We have to give good health and system to our people, and we have to deliver a good development for our populations. After two years in the office, I think you should leave another one to come and promote. And every time when I am in Washington, I am in London, I will hear, Professor Chakudia, do you think that you can give safety to Joseph Kabila? But Joseph Kabila must give safety to himself. If you feel that you have delivered to your population, and why are you going to fear to go out of the power? The country should continue after your mandate. Maybe someone can come with new ideas, new vision, because we need a visionary in Africa. We have been speaking, African Union, since 1961. What did we achieve? We're still going to Europe to ask for funding of African Union, because we don't have people with mind, with people with vision. We have small leaders. We need the strong leaders now. We need the people, the young people with visions. You cannot be in the power for 50 years and be happy to change the constitution. You are there for 20 years, you want to change the constitution. After 15 years, you want to change the constitution. What are you going to deliver, which you could not deliver between 15 years? Which you could not believe? Why in America after 4 years, Obama will go out? After 4 years, they will go out. In Nigeria now, it's the same. If you cannot deliver, you cannot perform, be sure to say, here, I cannot again continue, but we need now another one to come, and who can come with a new people, with a new vision to develop the country, to securize the country, and to give hope to our young people, because we are blocking, we are stopping the development even of our youth. They need to live in an environment of security, of peace, and of development. Okay. And we need our young people to enter in business and to compete with the international business. But those old people, you stay in the power for 50 years. You arrive there maybe in the 70s. If you give him a computer, he cannot even know what is in the computer. But he wants to be the leader of his country forever. No, we have to say no to this.
Okay, Professor Jacques,
Nigeria should take the lead now with President Buhari to tell to those kind of leaders that I have come by peaceful transition, I have come by democracy, you also should do the same.
Okay, now let's look at African unity, which is one of the objectives of the African Union. Now, do you think Africans have been able to unite? Is there a sense of unity on the continent of Africa via the operations of the African Union in the last 52 years? Looking at the xenophobic attacks in South Africa recently, do you think there was a good way to express unity in Africa? Because the xenophobic attacks was mainly on Africans. Now, what's your assessment of the African Union in terms of trying to instill or bring about the much needed unity we need on the African continent?
I will tell you one thing. I am one of the people who battle a lot to get the freedom in South Africa. I am a friend of Archbishop Desmond Tutu, of Madame Mandela, from Oslo, Norway, during apartheid. But today I feel ashamed that if it was to restart, we could let those people behind the white people. This black, our friend in South Africa, they have showed to us they are not serious. And normally, President Zuma should ask for apologize to all of us in this continent. Because how much money Nigeria has given for freedom of South Africa? How much money even Mobutu was a dictator in the Congo has given to the freedom of South Africa? We have been sleeping in the snow in Norway to get South Africa free. But after Mandela, we don't have another Mandela there. Maybe now, you in Nigeria, you have raised up the second Mandela with President Buhari. Thank God for that. But what has happened in South Africa with that xenophobia, it's not a good experience for our continent. You cannot tell to an African that this is not your country. Because before the arrival of the white people in this continent, they were not a country here, country there, country there. We are the same people. This continent belongs to African. Our resource must benefit to African people.
Now, what should the African Union do in respect of this to address these xenophobic attacks? Because it may show up again.
And we are already thinking to this. That king should answer to justice for what he has done. This we cannot hide our thinking. We are working on it. That if the President Zuma, who is his brother, because they are Zulu, all of them, President Zuma knows exactly what they are doing. And we want him to be, if he is serious with himself, because we have a freedom. And we have to tell to them that we have been suffering for your freedom. All Africa has been crying for the freedom of South Africa. They have been in all our countries. The South Africans have been in Nigeria, in Congo, in Zimbabwe, in everywhere. And the leaders of Africa, they have been battling together with even I remember in Congo, Zaire in that time, every child must give $1 for the freedom of South Africa. But why these people can do these things today to Africans? We have to say it, and we are not afraid to say it. We have helped them to be what they are today, to become a human being, because they were not even like a dog for the white people, but we made them a human being. And we have to tell to them, I am an actor of this. I am saying it sincerely. I have been sleeping in the snow to get this our brother and sister of South Africa out of apartheid. If President Zuma is serious, he must put to the court that Zulu king. But if they cannot do it, we will take him to The Hague.
Let's quickly, before we let you go on the program, just one question more. What are the lessons you think other African countries should learn from the peaceful transition of one government to another government in Nigeria, where for the first time in the history of Nigeria we see the incumbent won by an opposition, and the incumbent concedes to defeat and say, you come on board. This is heroic. This is historic. Now, what should be the lessons to other African leaders to take a cue from Nigeria?
I told you, I came from London to witness and to be a part of this feast of peaceful transition in Nigeria. As a Pan-Africanist, as an African who love Africa, and we are many of us, we have to sell this experience of Nigeria to all the continent. I have said it here that we have to congratulate President Jonathan for what he has done, because he could also say that I have a military, I have a security, and I don't go. The people around him also, we have to congratulate them because they could make this transition to fail. But they understood that the country is more important than their small position. And we cannot let this experience without selling it to every country of Africa. We have 54 plus 1. We have to sell it to our continent because it's for the betterment of our institutions. It's for the betterment of our countries and the continent. And if we want to develop, we have to accept the change which has happened in Nigeria as a positive action made by the Nigerian for the betterment of our continent.
We want to thank you, Professor Julian Giacudia, for coming on the program. I want to thank you for sharing your thoughts with us and for your heroic views on Pan-Africanism. I want to thank you, Pan-Africanist Giacudia, for coming on the program.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my brother. And I think our people of Africa, they have been suffering a lot. We need to give them hope, and the new chapter in Africa has been opened here in Abuja on the 28th of 29th of May 2015. And this will be taken care of by all of us who love Africa.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And to you viewers, thanks so much for watching, but please don't forget to leave your comments and questions through the email address and phone numbers on your screen. I am Oku Ekmayong. I'm out.